Hello.
Oh, I just had to move you around. That's all.
Oh, no problem. How are you?
I'm good. I am trying to figure all this out myself.
Well, it says my internet is unstable. Hopefully it will stay stable. If
It says
not,
that often, doesn't necessarily mean.
if mine gets pretty unstable, but I wrote down the code. If it goes out, just let everybody know. I'll jump on my phone and go somewhere else and jump on.
Okay, cool.
Are we gonna show video or what? I mean, I don't have
Yeah,
any. Okay,
yeah, we are. I'm gonna start about 5 minutes in. I'm gonna start a countdown with the
sure.
music, and then as soon as that's over, we will start.
Awesome.
Yep. And then yeah, most people will show their videos depending on how many people are in here, but I have to give them permission because this is a webinar, so it works a little bit different than a Zoom meeting.
Oh, got
Like
it. Okay.
nobody can talk unless I give them permission to talk.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
So yeah, we've been having like up to like 100 people on these calls and trying to keep track of 100 people, muting them when they are being inappropriate or their
Oh,
children start.
I can only imagine.
Oh
I
yeah, and
totally
then
get it.
naked people. I've seen panties already,
Oh my gosh,
so I have
that's
to have
hilarious.
control.
That is hilarious. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Well, I am appropriate, so you can show me at any time.
Okay, great. Yeah, let me. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute. Okay. All right. You are a panelist with me now, so you can.
Awesome. Awesome.
Make sure. Yep, there you go.
Am I bright enough? I have my camera on.
Yep, you look perfect.
Bright and cheery enough. Bright and cheery enough. I'm going to button this since I have on this little thing that looks weird because you can't see all of it.
Yeah.
Well, no, then I'll just leave it like this.
Oh, please, you're hilarious.
So weird with this Zoom because now you have to see how you look and
Yeah, I know, but only from the waist up, you know?
Yes, yes.
So if you didn't want to wear a bra, you'd be okay. Just
Yeah, I do have a little dress on today, so I'm good there. A little dress, and my daughter said when I do this, I look Japanese, but I think it's so.
No, I think it's cute. I will be turning mine on eventually too. I was gonna try to see if I could get a potty break before we started.
I know, I know. Replying to some emails here.
Go ahead. Get us some music going.
Here we go. I was cracking up. I wanted to. This is a little different on my Zoom calls. I'm able to show a different background, and it's hilarious.
That's funny. Do it. I want to see it.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to do it on the computer. I've been doing it on my phone.
Yeah, you just go up to the settings. Do you have a Mac?
No, I don't. I just have a regular.
That's okay. Just when you're on there, there should be like in your top, there should be like a file, edit, and it should say like zoom.us. Click on it and there's preferences, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, it's not for some reason it's not letting me do it. I just have the whole screen maximized.
All right, Christy, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go potty.
Okay, babe. Sounds
People will probably
good.
start showing up soon.
Okay, awesome. What, Jennifer?
Making sure I look decent too.
Look, Joe Exotic and I are here.
Oh my God. Have you watched it?
Oh, the whole thing like
I
twice.
haven't. I have 2 more episodes left.
Is that hilarious?
2 more episodes.
Oh my
Tell
gosh.
me how it ends. Don't.
It's like a train wreck.
Oh my God. Every episode we're like,
It's like a train wreck.
yeah.
I'm going to change this, but I thought it was hilarious.
No, you gotta leave it. It's hilarious.
Is that hilarious? Can you see it? Hold on, let me try it.
Yeah, it's super funny. No, you can see it great. I think it's hilarious.
Should I leave it like that?
Wait till Matt sees it. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm going to leave it and then I'll have to change it so people take me serious.
It's so funny.
Hey, Sharon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Has it been a wild and willy day?
You know what? It's been okay today. It's pretty wild and willy every day, but it's okay today.
I know I had to run to Baton Rouge to tend to something, and it was like, no traffic. This is absolutely wonderful.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah. Who is that behind you?
Okay, Sharon, it's our new guilty pleasure. It's Joe Exotic from the Tiger King. It's hilarious. I just did it for a little funny when everybody gets on here.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's hilarious.
Jen, I love that countdown. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Hey, Chuck Roberts.
Hey, lady, how are you?
You have like a great calm background, and I chose Joe Exotic. I'm going to change it in a minute, but I just thought the Tiger King, it's the newest next Netflix train wreck, and I just thought it was appropriate. Right?
That's what I did all day Saturday.
It's like It is like the best train wreck you will ever watch. It's craziness.
So crazy.
Crazy. Trying to show as many people as I can on my video here. We got some good music going. Hey, Amanda Cox.
Hey, Christy.
Hey, hey, Ann.
Hey y'all, I am muting myself because of my children. So
That's okay. Your husband just left from doing my yard. He's amazing.
perfect.
Yeah, Jen, I'm gonna have to get Joe Exotic from behind me because it will like my squirrely ADD self will be like looking at all the colors in a little while, and
It's
I'll-
hilarious. I love
I'll
it.
leave it up till we get started. Jen's got a countdown and everything, Chuck.
I know. She is
Fine.
the bomb.
Time to start whenever y'all are ready.
Awesome. Hold on, and I'm gonna change Joe Exotic back here. Give me 1 second. There we go. That's a little better. Chuck Roberts, are you kicking us off?
I can. I didn't had to wrap my mind around kicking you off. You're so big. It's just like, just let Christy do Christy.
You know what? Christy will just do Christy. How's that sound?
I would have been prepared, but I'm always just like, I'm just waiting to hear what you have to say. You could probably read a newspaper to us right now.
Hey, most of the time you're like, just let me get in the passenger seat and just let her go. Because she's not going to listen half the time anyway, right? So,
Got my seatbelt.
yes, put on the seatbelt. So welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining us on this Monday afternoon. So I watched the call yesterday and saw you all learning about internet leads and all of this great new stuff as we learn to thrive in our new environment. And I say thrive because you can definitely thrive, but it all starts with a mindset and a choice, right? But I texted, Chuck and I were texting back and forth, and it's great to have leads and great to know how to do that. And I'm so proud of each of you. But I also believe in educating on what's going on with the market, because getting a lead is one thing, turning them into a buyer is another thing. And if you are not up to date as well as we can be in these unprecedented times, then you will be what I call behind the curve, right? We want you in front of the information that is being brought to you. So we're going to try to be really consistent with bringing you this information, simply because it is good for you to know and be the expert so that you can help navigate these clients. Now, we're not asking you to be the lone expert. We just want you to have some knowledge, because you're going to hear a lot of rumors. That's what happens when we have unprecedented times and we have a lot of uneasiness and fear. People start making up things about the mortgage industry or about loan programs. So we want you to have the knowledge, because knowledge is power. So we're going to start just super simple today. I'm going to break down some things for you. Some of you that have been on my Zoom calls may have heard some of this before, but I do think the more you hear it, the more you learn it, and then you can relay it. So we're going to go through some old things, some new things, and talk about the mortgage market. So we're just going to kick it off. If you have any questions, I think you all know how by now to use the chat box at the bottom, and I'm sure Jennifer is watching that for us, and she will let us know, and I'm going to try to pull mine up. There we go. And okay, Jen, I'm going to let you handle all of the mic questions. I won't be squirrely because I'll turn my chat box off here. Okay, so let's talk about, you're going to hear some things like, this is just like 2008 or 2009. This is nothing like 2008 or 2009, okay? The 2008 and 2009 housing crisis was caused by the housing industry, Okay. It was caused by lenders doing what I call the breath test. You breathe on a mirror and you get some money. And then people couldn't pay, and it became just a horrible time for mortgages and real estate. However, this is a health crisis that is now turned to an economic crisis that is downstreaming into a mortgage crisis or a industry crisis. Okay. The good news is we had the strongest real estate market that we have seen in years going into this. Experts, and I'm not, don't pretend to be one, but all the ones that I'm listening to, David Stevens, who is the former head of the NBA, Barry Habib with Mortgage Highway, they are all saying that the housing industry is actually what could pull us out of this. So this is why Chuck, Wyatt, this is why everybody is pushing you to get those leads, to make those phone calls, to make those connections. Because let me say this, when this bubble bursts and when we do what they call flatten the curve on this virus, you are going to be amazed at what is going to happen to our industry. I was on a call this morning and they were not only saying low rates, they were saying low, 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 low rates. 4 low rates. That is big. These guys don't talk in those kind of terms. 4 low rates over the course of no telling how long after we get out of this, okay? So that's the good news. And we all know that any of the hardest times that we've had in our life, we have always had to push through. And once we push through and find where we thrive in that time, we come out of it and our businesses prospered, our families prospered. So I just want to speak that word to you today. You're seeing more people riding their bikes and hanging out with their kids. This is really actually good for us. Doesn't feel good right now, very uncomfortable, but we're going to get through this, and we are, and our business is going to get through this too. So I want to start super simple and just explain really quickly the difference in the Fed rate and the mortgage rate, okay? 2 totally different things. It's kind of like this piece of paper and this cell phone, 2 totally different things. So to break it down, the Fed rate, like when they cut it to 0 that Sunday, a lot of you texted me and said, what's going on? That is the money and that is the rate at which banks lend to each other. So credit cards, home equity lines of credit, those kind of things. That's how banks lend to each other. What you guys are focused on is the mortgage rate. That is based on mortgage-backed securities, okay? Normally what happens and we are not in a normal environment, whenever stock market goes bad, people tend to run to the bond market, okay? But now what's happening is people are going to the cash market. So the bond market is tighter, and that's why we felt a lot of, when the Fed rate went to 0, it didn't mean mortgage rates go down. Does that make sense to the ones I can see? Yep. Does that make sense? So the stock market, the bond market, they are all totally different. So there are actually predictions now that whenever, now this is just predictions because nobody knows, we've never been here, but they're saying that whenever we recover, that they really feel like we will rebound and the rates may go down to under 3%. Okay, this is crazy. This is good, but this is why Chuck, Wyatt, all of your leadership team want you to focus on nurturing and building business now. You do not want to be the last one on the totem pole whenever this thing busts, okay? We can nurture, we can love them, we can get them in the systems, and then whenever this happens, then we are ready, okay? So I want to talk about a little bit about what is going on in the mortgage industry as far as some programs that you're hearing are going away. Now, let's be really cautious. I don't want to see any of you spreading any things about what's going away, what's going to happen. A lot of this is fear-driven. If you remember back to the flood in 2016, we had a lot of fear. When people have fear, they make presumptions. If you spread that, it can actually hurt the industry. So we want to fact check before we spread anything, okay? But you're going to hear things like, I have heard this week. FHA and RD and government loans are going away. Let me explain that. That is not the truth. Is it true that some lenders or some brokers may choose not to do them based on their investors? That could be the truth. Okay, that could be the truth, but they are not going away. They are a business, they are stable. So what is happening now, and I'm going to try to break this down, and Chuck, if you want to chime in, if I'm being confusing, let me know. But let me tell you this, okay? So jumbo loans for right now, they're pretty much going away, but let me tell you why. So let's say that I pulled into Chuck Roberts' house today and I had this Maserati. And I said, Chuck, I'm going to give you this Maserati for the sum of $50,000 cash. Okay, I'm going to give you this. It's a beautiful car. It usually performs very well when things are good. I mean, you can take this Maserati out in that traffic and weave and curve and get your thrills in, right? For the cash sum of $50,000. Well, a few weeks ago, Chuck might have said, hey, Solar, you got a deal. But today, with the uncertainty in the market, Chuck may say, you know what? I'm going to hold on to my $50,000. That Maserati looks really good, and that sounds like a really good price. But Jill's got a Toyota Corolla that I'm going to take for about $10,000 because I want to hold on to my cash. So this is what's happening in the jumbo markets. Whenever investors kind of get, I don't want to say scared, but when they tighten up, lenders, correspondent lenders like me realize that we may have to hold on to these loans, even though they're normally really pretty and very profitable. Like that Maserati, it looks really good in that driveway. But right now, we may have to hold on to some of these loans because investors are not buying. So do you want to hold on to the Maserati, or do you want to hold on to the Corolla, right? You're going to hold on to something where you have more cash to give out. So the reason you're hearing higher credit scores, and we're going to talk about that, the reason you're hearing people that jumbo loans are not going to be done right now, and you're hearing that bank statement loans are not going to be done right now, because lenders like me know that we're going to have to hold on to those until we can sell them. So Chuck, does that make sense to you?
Yep.
So we're going to want to hold on to the loans that are going to that we can do more of right now, that we have more cash flow to do. So I'm not going to speak on any company. I'm going to speak on Fairway. We are in the top, somebody said 1 or 2 yesterday. I was saying 3 in the nation. We're a God-based company. We did 40 billion last year. We have a lot of liquid assets. We fund our own loans. So a lot of the things that you are hearing could be from lenders that don't fund their own loans. So it's true that they may tighten up. Now, let me tell you what a lot of lenders are doing. And I don't want you to be scared. A lot of lenders right now on government loans are going to a 660 score. And you say, well, why is that? Because remember, we're having to package these loans where we can sell them, or we have to be prepared to hold on to them. A lot of the loans in the lower credit score, so let's say you have a 610 borrower that doesn't have any reserves and works in an industry that is not going to maybe be employed for a little while. Would you put your money in that? Let me ask you that. Would you put your money in that? If you knew that you had to hold on and hang on with that borrower through months of payments, would you want to write a check for that loan? Y'all can shake your head. No. Sharon says no. Sharon says, I would like to wait till this is over and I have an investor that would buy that loan. So listen, I'm saying this because we have to give mortgage lenders grace because they don't make the rules, just like you guys don't make the rules, right? So a lot of times they're making decisions for longevity. Remember, this is a crisis that affects all of us in the whole world. So people want to be in business and they don't know how long this is going to take. Y'all heard the other day, Dr. Scott, he said, we just don't know. So lenders are going to tighten up the qualifications. Now, let me say this. Does that mean that you can't get those people in the system? Absolutely not. That means we still want to love them. We still want to take their application. On behalf of Fairway, you guys work with me all the time and know that we have credit programs in place that are completely free to your buyer. That let's say they have a 640 and they would have been able to buy next week, we might can get that to 660 in a week, or we might have to pause and wait a minute. Every day, new information is coming out. Debt to income may decrease. Credit scores, we've already talked about that. They may require buyers to get reserves. I don't want you guys to be nervous about that. That is just protecting the lenders in the environment we're in so that we can serve you whenever this is over, okay? Does that mean you won't do loans? Absolutely not. Several of you texted me this weekend and I'm like, your buyer's great. Write the contract. Listen, we have a choice with fear. We can face everything and run, or we can face everything and fear everything and run, right, Chuck? Or face everything and rise. We're going to rise. We are going to rise. I'm telling you that the lender that supports your MCA, your market center, is strong. We are strong. Our CEO is hiring all of these consultants. It is like mortgage overload for me. We get new meetings every day so that we can bring you the latest information. But remember, patience is a virtue when you're dealing with an unprecedented event. You guys are going to come out of this, I am firmly believing it, better than we have ever been before. But we have to put the work in. You know, it's kind of like when it's great, it's great. When it's not great, you got to work harder, right? You got to work harder. Why do you think that they are pouring into you and offering to help you get leads? It's because they want to encourage you to work. I'm encouraging you today to learn as much as you can, to read, and to stay calm. This is going to be great for all of our businesses. So we've already talked about what it's looking like as far as credit scores, right? 660 is pretty much what everybody local is going to. Let me say this, and I'm going to speak very clearly. Now, this is just going to be shared with Keller Williams, right, Chuck?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So we don't ever put down on other companies, and this is not that. But I want to say this. Make sure you know, as a buyer's agent and a listing agent, that you know the mortgage company that is dealing with the buyer. Make sure that you do your homework. It is not the mortgage loan officer's fault. Let me say this, but it could be a case where some companies may not have money to lend. So you may have a contract, and because of the compressions on the mortgage community right now, there's an article that says who broke the mortgage industry, because honestly, the dollars that the Fed is buying mortgage-backed securities with is actually not helping us. So they are revamping that. That's why Fairway hired the top leader in the industry to help navigate this. But you need to be communicating. You need to be communicating. I'm going to read you what my CEO texted me earlier to share with you guys. I told him I was going to be meeting with y'all. And let me just tell you, this is the real deal when you have the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company sending you things to share with agents of Zachary, Louisiana. That is special, right? That is special. And this is what we're looking at for mortgages now. And now we have 6 C's that we're looking for in mortgages. We're looking for corona resistant income. So if you have a buyer that is working a job that is not going to, so this is what you can look for in people that have pre-approved right now, are people that you have under contract. You need to stay in touch with your buyers. Right now, we know we have a very high unemployment rate. That's because of what's going on in the industry. But you need to make sure the people that you're dealing with, that you want to write a contract on today, make sure they have corona-resistant employment, right? If you write a contract and they don't have a job, you can't close the deal. We really need to start thinking smart about who we're working with. Now, it doesn't mean you can't work with those people. It just means we might have to love them a little bit to get through this. We're looking for collateral, right? We want strong collateral. We are looking at credit. We want a little better credit right now because we have to make it pretty. We're looking for capacity and we're looking for capital. But the last thing he sent me was amazing. We are looking for communication, right? Our borrowers have to communicate. They have to communicate with you. They have to communicate with us. But most of all, we have to communicate with each other. You that know me know that I'm Polly Sunshine. I don't like to promote negativity, and I'm not. There's a difference, and I'm an eternal optimist. But you also have to be a realist in the current environment that we're dealing in, right? You can't just take a pre-approval letter from anybody and expect and pull that house off the market as a listing agent and expect it's going to close. You have to know who you're dealing with, and you have to ask those questions of your buyers and of the lenders. Is that fair enough? I love that Jen put that in there. So does anybody have any questions about that, about what we've talked about? I know I'm kind of hitting you guys with a lot, but it's just to let you know it is changing every day. This morning we got, we knew about it last week, but the credit score, now they're talking about they may have to make some debt to income changes nationwide. And listen, these are just lenders. We don't know exactly what FHA, VA, RD, Freddie, Fannie are going to do. We do know that the agencies still want you guys to close loans. They still want these loans in. They know that if the housing market fails because of this, it affects the economy greater than the coronavirus ever could. So this is why you guys are essential employees. This is why we need you to be hungry, humble, and smart. And we need you to work really, really hard during these times because this is all short-lived. And once we get out of this, it's going to be magnificent. I'm going to touch on some stuff that we've already touched on, but really quickly, we talked about title companies are still working, appraisers are still working. All of the agencies are making guidelines so that appraisers can do drive-by, or if they have to do in-house, it's super limited. So they are making these changes so that you guys can still get out there and sell houses, okay? Is that fair enough? Everybody gets that? So Jen, I'm gonna let you kind of moderate here, but I know I'm throwing a lot, but do y'all have any questions about what I've talked about the higher credit scores, the jumbo loans? I know we don't do a lot of those, but still, I know it's scary when things go away. Does anybody have any questions? Jen, you want to moderate that?
I got one. This is Sharon. I've got one if I can ask you about jumbos.
Okay.
I'm going to be listing one that's a jumbo. So from the seller's standpoint, how should I approach him about potential buyers if the jumbo market is, closing up?
Okay. So there's a workaround to that, and I'm going to share it with you. How much is that house, Sharon?
It's probably going to be between $575 and $600.
Okay. So did you know that the conventional mortgage, okay, so let's say 575, right? Or let's say 600. Most of those buyers are going to be putting 20% down, right? Normally. I mean, is that a fair statement? Most of those buyers have 10 to 20% down. Did you know that the conventional limit just changed in our area? And you can finance up to 5, 10, 400 on a conventional loan. So if you took 5, 10, 400, divided by 600,000, that's an 85% LTV. They could put down 15% and still be on a conventional loan. Okay. Most of your buyers that are buying those kind of houses, Chuck, wouldn't you agree with me, are putting down at least 15%, okay? Now, if they're not sharing, you can do, lenders can do they can do up to 5, 10, 400 and have a bank finance some of the rest of the difference. So the jumbo loans that we're talking about, on those that are normally in our area, there's some easy workarounds. We're talking about the ones that will greatly be affected are usually like, $900, $1 million up. And Sharon, let me tell you something else. You can promote that as a VA 100%. VA changed their limit in January. I'm doing one now that's $885,000 with no money down. VA does not require money down on, they don't have a limit anymore. We're going up, I think, to $1.5 million, and I don't know any houses around here that are much over $1.5 million. So keep in mind, this is why I want you guys, look, even if you don't use me, it's okay. You can reach out to us as a resource. We are always able to help and answer questions. Our commitment to the Market Center when we join partnership is that we want it to be your source for information. We want it to be the experts for you to lean on. So even if you don't use me, you can always get me on my cell. Jen, I'm going to put that in the notes down here. Just if you have any questions that you don't want to ask to the group, just text me and I'll answer them. So does anybody else have any questions? Chuck, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope. I would just, the only thing I would say to our folks is just hunt harder, nurture more,
yeah,
keep hustle, stay humble. And if we have somebody that's at 660, let's do that. And if they're less than that, here's my perspective. And I learned this in 2004 when my babies were real young. I always said people would have somebody that wanted to buy 6 months from now and they would give me the lead. Like they literally, I'm like they would throw them away. And I'm like, can I have them? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, my babies are still going to need shoes 6 months from now.
Yep. And Chuck,
so,
yeah, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but just brought something to my mind. So I don't want you guys to put out there the guidelines of lending. If you notice when other lenders are putting out there the credit scores, we are not doing that. Brian and I are not doing that. Let me tell you why. We don't want to discourage anybody from applying when a situation is temporary, right? You heard me say the word temporary. We don't want somebody to look at Credit Karma and see their scores as 650 and not apply, realizing that a FICO could actually be higher. When you put out, just like if I put out the median sales price in Denham Springs is such and such, you would look at me like I'm crazy because I know nothing about how to price a home, right? I don't want you guys putting out credit guidelines. I just want you guys getting them to us. We are the experts in that so that we can walk them through. I had somebody that applied this weekend. I'll be honest, 625 score, didn't have a house in mind, so I couldn't hurry and lock her in. And I said, listen, we're going to go ahead and get your documentation. We're going to work everything up. This is going to be temporary. This is going to be temporary. And once this is done, we're going to call you and you're going to pull the trigger and go find a house, right? Whenever you put out things like a lot of people are doing about this is the credit score, you are actually mentally hurting those people because they already had fear and anxiety about applying. Get them to a team that's going to love them, help them through the process. We also have, you've all heard me talk about, we have Credit Tool. That is something that I don't know any other lender that actually has that in-house. It is our free program where we have people that all they do is train to work on credit repair or, help them with credit improvement is what we like to call it. And that is free for you. And guess what? That is free for the borrower. If you talk to a borrower and say, well, if you don't have a 660 score, you shouldn't apply. You don't know what their score is. And half the time they don't know what their score is either. You just need to get them to us. We're going to navigate it. We're going to let you know their next steps. But most importantly, we're going to let them know their next steps so that they're ready when, as I say, this curve flattens and this bubble bursts. Chuck, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that came to my brain. We don't want to put out things to discourage. We want everybody that you can get to apply. This is the time to build that pipeline. This is the time to get those people in so that you know who has that 610 score, but a week ago, we could have got them in on FHA, possibly RD with that score. Guess what? A little down the road, we're going to be able to get it again. Scott Fletcher, who's over all of our guidelines for fairway and compliance and risk, he said, guys, this is just temporary. We're just doing it because we're going to have to write checks to handle these loans if investors don't buy. So we need to make sure that the ones we're writing checks on are the ones that you guys would spend your money on. But when it opens back up and more people want to buy loans in different type of paper, as we call it, the floodgates are going to open. Now, somebody is going to ask me how long this is going to be. Go back and watch Dr. Scott's call Friday. We don't know. We don't know. But guess what I do know? You have a laptop, you have a cell phone, you have people in that market center who want to help you grow a business, grow it. It comes down to one thing. It's a mental choice. It's a mental choice. I'm not going to share too much of this because I think I'm going to help Chuck on Friday, but I just want to say there's been a lot of times in my life that I had to make some really hard choices. They didn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to work as much as we're doing right now, but guess what? We all do it for our babies, as Chuck said. We do it for our babies. We do it for our families. And the reason that I'm on a call and Brian and I are on a call at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Monday is because we care about this market center. And we want you guys to be successful. And we want you to have the latest information. And guess what? Something could change tomorrow. And guess what? You're going to see my face with no makeup on your Facebook page because I'm going to be sharing it with you. Because we care about what happens. But at the end of the day, you can sulk in something that we cannot control, that everybody in the nation, I think this is probably the first time in my entire life, Chuck, that everybody has been on the same playing field. Like this virus has put everybody on the same playing field. Guess what? The winners will rise. And if you sit there and sulk about what we can't do, what we can't, well, last week we could close at 610. This week it has to be a 660. I'm going to tell you, so what? Guess what? Everybody feels the same way. You just need to love those 610s, get them to somebody who could help them, and move on and find more. The more people you talk to, the more chances you have of still making a paycheck. Is that a true statement? And I say that with a whole lot of love. 45% of my business, $50 million last year that we did as a team. And I think, Brian, I can't even remember, but 40 something of it was my own, right? I took a 45% cut when the 660 score came out the other day. Initially, 45%, bam, cut. Did I cry about it? You know, for a minute, I might have, for just a little minute. And then guess what? I got excited because I know that especially we people in Louisiana, we know how to thrive when times get hard. We proved it over and over again. And I thought about the flood years ago. And let me tell you this, you can thrive in this environment. Now I'm like, wow, this is fun. Like how many more people can I talk to? How many more people can I build a pipeline for future business? So I'm gonna get off my soapbox there. But this is exciting. You got to be excited about this. This is going to be where we separate, as they say, I'm not sexist at all, but the men from the boys, right? The ones who want to play from the ones who want it to just get the easy stuff. You're going to have to be in the game. I saw Miss Sharon, I think Miss Sharon or Jill were working on their Facebook leads. Suzanne was on there. A lot of you are. I mean, this is how you play. This is how you play. I'm getting up, getting dressed, trying to put on makeup, not every day, right, Crocker? You can shake your head at that. But we are doing our best to stay on top of this so that you can have longevity in the business. Does anybody else have anything they want to add now that I'm done preaching, Chuck Roberts and Jen?
I love it. Bring the heat.
Is this going to affect anything that was already underway before the virus hit?
Okay, that's an amazing question. I'm so sorry I did not say that. Okay, can I say yes or no? Okay. For Fairway, our position is no. If it is in the pipeline and the loan is locked, we are protecting that loan. Okay. Now, if somebody loses a job, I can't protect it. If the same person that was buying 123 June Street, that contract falls out, they had a 620 score, now they're writing a new contract, I can't protect that. But if they're buying the same house that we locked a rate in, you got to be a purchase agreement before today, because it all changed today, but I knew about it and I let a lot of you know that we're writing, and we saved some deals that way. I'm not going to name some names, but 2 or 3 of you, we got to work and we found houses and we locked some loans this weekend. So those are protected. Now let me say why I say no. I cannot speak for other lenders. I cannot speak for brokers that don't fund their own loans, that are relying on investors, and I am not scaring you at all. I am just saying I cannot speak for those. So that last C that we typed up there, communication, You need to be calling. If you have a deal that is going on with a lender, you need to be in touch with them. Just say, hey, listen, I know there's a lot of changes. I just wanted to make sure that Miss Sharon, that I just sent a contract to you on, that her loan is okay, right? That's okay. Because I have heard horror stories, and again, we are not trying to scare. We are trying to educate. I've heard in other states where they get to the table and there's not money because the lender didn't have the money to fund it, right? So I'm not scaring you. I just want you to know communication. The reason we're talking about those 6 C's is because you got to communicate. You can no longer rely on just lenders communicate with you, because things are changing for them too. You need to be checking in. It's not fear-based, it's education-based, okay? Now let me say this, Jen. Let's say that something happened and the government shut down all loans tomorrow. We can't help that, right? We can't help that. But I'm saying in the environment that we're in right now, no, we don't foresee that's going to happen. So nobody go say, Christy said. I'm just saying we don't know what's going to happen. Look at the numbers in Louisiana. And I want to read you this just so you know how serious this is and you keep yourself safe. We took a screenshot last week and there was like 1,000-something cases in Louisiana, and then it was growing to Friday to 2,000 cases in Louisiana. And then today, the latest update, I'm pulling it up through the Louisiana website, we're over 4,025 cases with 185 deaths. And last Tuesday, I think it was like 1,200 and something cases. Not fear. This is just letting you know that we don't always know everything because everything changes on a dime. But this is why you as agents need to be the face of promoting, quarantining, staying at home. The sooner that we can get everybody to listen and stay in, the better that we're going to be. And that's why you have to be smart. You have to be creative in how you do open houses online. You have to be creative in how you could have sellers do videos and send to you to send to potential buyers. Like, you just have to be creative. So the truth is, no and yes, we don't know. But if you are locked in along with Fairway right now, as long as nothing changes with that buyer's job or nothing changes with how the government makes us do something, you're fine. Fair enough? Anybody have any other questions? I know I'm throwing a whole lot at you, and I don't want to bring fear. I want to bring hope. I drew on my driveway the other day that hope over fear always wins. And if you put your hope, if you get up in the morning with your morning routine, you get dressed, you plan your day, you start making your phone calls, working those leads, you're going to have a bigger pipeline, I believe, than you ever have dreamed of. The ones that work will win. The ones that don't won't. It's just the truth. It's just how it is. And for me, my team, Ron and I, we're going to work.
So I do want to wrap up with that question. Whenever you went through the flood, it got rough, right?
Yeah. So look, I mean, look, I've had a lot of times in my life that have got rough. Y'all, a lot of you have heard my story, but I mean, at first it was like, I don't care about mortgages because I've lost all my baby's baby pictures. I got that poor woe is me mentality, like, God, this is just horrible. And I don't care if I ever do a mortgage again. Then I had fear. What if I never do a mortgage again? 85% of the people that I deal with were underwater, had 22 loans in my pipeline and got down to 9. And I know some of you say, well, 9's not bad. But for my business, I mean, we rely on that. Like, I take care of my parents. Like, it's a lot, right? So I had that fear. Then I got that push. And I thought, okay, I can't change it. I can't do anything just like now. I can't change that there's a virus, but I can change this, right? Andy Andrews that says that perspective and change is a choice. It's how long it takes to make that choice that's the difference, right? Did you hear me? Perspective and change can happen in an instant. It's a choice. But it's how long it takes you to get to that mindset that can be the difference in how well you do in that environment. So for me with the flood, and look, I've had 3 strokes in 15 years. Like, Chuck, you remember I was in a wheelchair for 6 months. Like, I've had a lot to overcome. And I think that's why a lot of times this is now fun for me, because I'm like, okay, We have played by a lot of different rules and a lot of different games. And then back in my drug use in my 20s, that was a choice, but I had to learn to get around that, right? So I've always had obstacles. I've always had to overcome them. I think all of us have. We live in the South where we've had floods. We've dealt with family members who've been sick, and we've had to find ways to navigate that. We're going to find ways to navigate this. I'm just asking you today to please make the choice to be productive. Please make the choice to build your pipelines, and then you will flourish.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. I see my computer's dying. I need to plug it in. Does anybody have any questions while I plug it in? Technical difficulties. Hold on, guys. There we go. I'm back up and running. Does anybody have any more questions before? And listen, I do appreciate you guys getting on here with Brian and I today. We value you guys. We want to help you. Don't want you to be fearful. Don't want you to be fearful. Fearful is the worst thing you can do in your business. I've only been in this business 9 years, but I've built a very good business. Yes, fearless. That's right. Fearless. What's it say? Fearless. Do not.
Mark 36.
Yep. It's the truth. Listen, Brian and I had a call the other day. We're hit hard by these. Look, you think you guys are suffering over these higher credit scores? We are too. It's a lot of our business. It's the nature where we live in. But you know what? We're going to thrive. We're going to thrive. The rates are going to be so low when we get out of this that we're going to have to work 10 days out of 7-day week to keep up, right? And I am looking forward to that. Just know right now that we're here to be your partner and help you through it.
And I would like to share with my shirt, because there, no doubt there's fear. No doubt there's times I wake up, right? I'm not immune to it either. And I think at times like this, us learning very quickly, what can I control? And focus on that. Yeah. And then give everything else up to God and pray and focus on things you can control, which you can never go wrong with hustle, humble, and taking care of your nurturing your relationships. And if you double down on that, you never know what those opportunities will hold. There's no telling. So just go build relationships and serve and control that. Just control that.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah. I mean, after the flood, we thought, how are we going to do mortgages? So on a Sunday, I called our CEO the Sunday after the flood and said, hey, I got to learn renovation mortgages. And we learned renovation mortgages. And I hate a renovation mortgage. They're hard, but guess what? We hated it. We cried, we screamed, but guess what? We did it. And we still closed that year with like 200 units. Like, there is a way to thrive and prosper, but it's all about having that overcoming and warrior mentality. This is not for the faint of heart. And I know some of you are like, well, I didn't think I had a warrior mentality. I just got into real estate because I liked it. And now you're telling me I got to be a warrior. I'm telling you, you got to step up. You want to play the game. You got to play it with the cards you've been dealt. You just got to step up. And you have people that love you and want to help you through it. And this market center is strong and people love you. They want to come 6 feet away from you and give you a hug, but they also want to come 6 feet away from you and help you get Facebook leads. Now, who's doing that, right? This is the time to thrive. It's just a choice. That's it. Anything else before we end and I go cook supper?
I think we're good to go.
Well, thank you all. A blessing, and we look forward to serving you. If you have any questions, reach out to us, and just know it's going to be some rumors. We will always set you straight and tell you the truth, and I'm going to keep you updated on your Facebook page, okay? And have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.